Okay, so now we're going to jump into my most favorite chapter of the whole book. It's all about services, marketing of services, and nonprofit organizations. So I have worked for several nonprofits before I began teaching, and I really love to talk about nonprofits because they often have the most fulfilling work, in my opinion. It's more fulfilling than marketing of products or things that are making corporations lots of money. And it also can be a really great challenge because nonprofits often have smaller marketing budgets and you have to be really creative in how you accomplish your goals. So, I'm going to highlight a few things here just for you to look at in your book and kind of explain a couple of things. But traditionally, in this course, as we talk through the marketing mix and the different aspects of each component within the marketing mix, we tend to talk about products. And so, and even one of the marketing mix things is the product. We just talked about that in chapter 11. So, nonprofits and services, they also have, and I'm going to put in air quotes, a product because they have some idea or cause that they are selling, and that can be their product, or they have something that you are still going to exchange money for or resources for. If you remember, marketing is this exchange that takes place. And so you can do that with a service. And when I say service, I mean a haircut, getting your nails done, somebody cleaning your home, somebody changing the tires on your vehicle, whatever that looks like for you, even though you're not getting something tangible, it can still qualify as a product. So, a service, like I said, is a deed, a performance, or an effort that cannot be physically possessed. And there are tons of service oriented industries in the country. It is a huge driver of our economy, and it can really be an important component of marketing. So, some characteristics of services, they're intangible, right? You can't touch a haircut, you can't hold a haircut. You're inseparable, so the person that's taking part of the service, so if you're the customer, you're a part of the process, so you have to have a head of hair to cut in order to be a part of the service. So they're inseparable. The person that is related to the service and the person giving the service, those two things go hand in hand. They're heterogeneous and they're perishable. Those are two other um, characteristics. And so when we say they're heterogeneous, there's a human factor that goes into what takes place in a service. And so although humans are not perfect, there can always be this variance of quality. So we all know when we've gone to a restaurant and we've sat down, that sometimes you have a really great server who works really hard and they check on you, and that's part of the process. You're part of receiving that service of somebody making you food and bringing it to your table. And then it's also perishable. So you can say that you can't store it, you can't hold it, you can't put it on a shelf. And supply, and when we talk about supply and demand really, really is critical to the success of the service. So if you can't participate and you can't be a part of the service and you can't be inseparable from receiving the service, then um, there's a lower demand, which means that there is perishability to that service. So you may not want to offer that service anymore. It may go away. So service quality is something that I'm going to have you take a look at. There is a really great chart here that you can zoom in on. That text is really small. Um, that talks about service quality and how people who take place in a service have certain needs that need to be met. And so there are all of these elements about, and there are different gaps that we look at where you can have a gap in service quality. So you can walk through these. And when I say a gap, that means there's like a lapse in service. It doesn't work as well as you thought it would. And so you can walk through this and put yourself in this situation and kind of walk through these different things. That's the easiest way to kind of learn this, to think about yourself sitting down at a restaurant or yourself getting your nails done or getting a haircut or getting your car worked on, and kind of walk through these different components. I'll zoom out here. Um, Businesses have kind of two different services. So there's a core service and there's a supplementary service. So the core service is um, the thing that you benefit the most from when you're buying. And then the supplementary service is something that can enhance the core service. So for me in my business, I have photography, and my core service is taking pictures, right? That's what my skill set is. That's where my business plan lies, is me marketing to people who need pictures taken. You may have heard me talk. There's also a supplementary service that I would call that I offer, that's social media management. So part of everybody, like let's say a new business comes to me and they want me to run their Facebook page, or they want me to create content for their Instagram page and post for them. I do that for quite a few people at this point. And they have all found me because I actually, most of them were photography customers before that. So they knew that in all of my social media packages come with photography services. So the Blue Horse Bakery, she's one of my clients right now. It's great. She's super talented. You should all check her out. She had worked with me before with some photography stuff, and they called and said, "Hey, I need help with social media. I don't have time to do it. Would you do that as well?" And I said, "Yes, of course. Let's talk about it." And one of the packages she selected comes with photography, going back to my core service. So I go in and I take pictures of them working and of the staff and of all the baked goods and the beautiful cakes. And that enhances my core service. So that looks different for anybody. Some places they specialize in doing nails and toes and um, manicures, pedicures, things like that. But you can also get your eyebrows waxed while you're there, or um, get some other type of spa service. And so it just kind of depends on the type of service that you have. There's a tire shop here in town. Their core service is selling tires, but they will help you adjust your alignment as well. So that kind of supplements, hey, your tires, maybe your tire went flat, maybe something happened. And of course, we'll replace your tires because that's what we do. But by the way, let us fix your alignment too, because that'll help with the longevity of your new tires. So you can look at all of these things as it comes to the overnight rental of a bedroom. This is a great example of the core services. You rented a bedroom, right? That's the main thing you do when you book a hotel. But then look at all of these different amenities that come with, and supplementary services that come with it. And then you have this person. Remember, I talked about service quality and how there can be gaps in the delivery of service quality. Well, guess what? There are different types of people and um, different delivery processes to get you what you want and what you need. So I like that example because it really shows, oh, wow, you can pay for a room night, but look at all these things that come with it. Um, we talked about relationship marketing. This should look pretty familiar to you since we did a lot of this before. But relationship marketing can be practiced at many levels. So when we talk about financial aspects, social aspects, customizing aspects, that's a really big push in the world right now, is customization. You can get customized hair care, you can get customized skincare, you can get a customized vehicle, you can get all these different things. And that is huge when it comes to service quality and the ability to market your services, because people want custom goods. And so, especially millennials, who are a huge, huge, huge part of our population, that's part of characteristic and a hallmark of the millennial generation, is that, hey, I want something special to me. I want something that only I get or what only I have. And so, a lot of businesses that pride themselves in relationship marketing and their ability to um, retain customers will really look at this customization and being able to understand their customer. And so remember, it's easier to develop a relationship with current customers than having to go out and get new customers. And so retention is easier than attaining a new customer. And so, how do you do that? Any one of these different ways. So, you should also make sure that you know these levels for your exam. So then let's talk about internal marketing. This is how we treat our employees. This is how you get good service quality. Think about if you've ever worked in service, whether you have a server at a restaurant, a bartender, if you've ever been in some sort of service, working in a boutique, anything like that, you know that happy customers or happy employees make customers happy. So you can tell when your waiter or waitress has a bad day, or they don't love their job, or they're kind of over their shift or whatever. And so being able to make sure that you create a culture of people who are really engaged in their work and care about their work and are enthusiastic about their work will help with that service quality process. So let's switch gears a little bit real quick and talk about nonprofits. You'll need to know a few nonprofit organizations. So take some time and go in and take a look at some nonprofit organizations that you care about or that you know of. Um, I said at the beginning, nonprofits can often have lower budgets. Some nonprofits on the other end of that spectrum have huge budgets for marketing because their entire quote unquote business plan and their ability to um, facilitate the cause of their nonprofit is um, there in order to um, it's there in order to I just lost my train of thought, guys. Oh, in order to get donations and facilitate that money to for their cause. So, for example, um, the Humane Society or Jude's Children's Hospital, you'll see these big national campaigns and commercials. Sarah McLaughlin and the Arms of an Angel. Please donate. Look at these little puppies. They're so sad. Well, by the way, that is a huge part of their marketing plan, and they pay a lot of money for those commercials because they know that people will donate and that will further their cause. Other nonprofits, smaller nonprofits, do not have that luxury. When I worked with State 4-H office, we relied heavily on donations to create events that kids wanted to come to. So they would come to these leadership events and these conventions and things like that that I would put on. And that money was crucial, and getting donations was crucial to the cause, but it was very difficult to obtain. For example, I did an event called 4-H Roundup, and that event budget was $500,000. And I would say half of that came from donations. And so I needed all of that money to make it work and make the event what it was and what my customers, quote unquote customers, members of this nonprofit 4-H wanted, but it was very, very expensive. And so there's kind of a spectrum there if you think about it. You can also think about these grassroots nonprofits that further different causes. They start at the grassroots level where they don't have a lot of money in communities, and they have to kind of help with some momentum and getting donations and getting resources in order to further their cause. So, um, nonprofits. So make sure you know a couple of examples of nonprofit organizations. Make sure you understand what it is and how it's different than marketing of a product itself, like something you go to the store and buy on the shelf. And make sure that you also understand the way that nonprofits market. So you can look, and you've done hopefully your homework this week. And so that's probably showed you a little bit about, oh, okay, I see what these nonprofits are doing. This is how they're furthering their causes, is how they're getting people's attention, etc. So there should still be this exchange that takes place. If you think about it, you should give, if you donate money or you help with the cause, you're still getting something in return, whether that be a good feeling, whether that be some sort of memento of your donation. It kind of depends on what you're talking about, but there's still some sort of exchange that takes place that's mutually satisfying for both parties. So it really is not that different than all of the other things that we've learned this semester in terms of marketing of products, except it's not tangible. And so that's really the only, or one of the main differences, I should say, in terms of nonprofits and services. And so I hope that this little overview has helped you kind of shed some light on how these two elements, services and nonprofits, are similar to marketing of products and how they're different. Thanks for tuning in.